Simon, let's go back to your board, and I'm going to lavish you with some praise right now because you've done some really beautiful work from the start.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's really well sorted out. I like everything. I mean, I think everything you have in here is wonderful. I mean, as far as where you're pulling from, um, I was really happy to see the hornbills in here. I think hornbills have some of the most interesting silhouettes in nature,
Yeah,
right? They don't
they look
even,
quite ancient as well. They look quite like archaic birds.
yeah, they look they don't look like they should be able to fly. You know?
Yeah,
You'd think that these protrusions would catch too much drag. Their heads would be ripped back.
yeah,
But the fact that you went through and you actually drew out your piece first is a huge help. Um, I like your incorporation of the hornbill elements here in the top of the head. These, I would assume they're like a, I don't know, what are these actually? These four little guys.
I was thinking maybe they were breathing holes, like instead of nostrils. I didn't really maybe to intake air, but I wasn't really sure.
It's cool.
I was kind of just playing around, but I thought maybe for breathing.
It's cool and disgusting. I like it. No, but it's very cool. It feels very alien. It's very cool. So this volume in the throat felt really nice, and overall, I think it worked really well too. It's a very flamboyant design, um,
Yeah,
which is absolutely fine. I think it's beautiful. I think the only part where I felt like it wasn't as strong as the rest of the design was in the mouth. You have these two bony pieces, right, collapsing
yeah,
together, and I felt like this jaggedness, sort of like you have. Okay, if we go through from everything else, there's this grace to it. There's this overlapping, these sort of soft, gentle curves going around here, and then you
yeah,
hit the mouth, and you have this jaggedness. And I think that this looks it doesn't marry here well,
yeah,
right? I think that this connection I would try playing with something that was just a smooth overlap with no jagged parts at all, or maybe even making these the sharpness here, making it more even across from front to back.
yeah.
Um,
You see the ones left there, the red one, where it's got less spiky bits? Do you think maybe could be more like that, or
this one right here, or this up here.
like, yeah,
Well,
that's still a bit too jagged.
I think if I'm reading, I'm gonna skip over to your other drawings, but I think that if I'm reading this properly, this looks like the top is overlapping the bottom. This feels like, or actually, I'm sorry, the bottom is overlapping the top. Like these are
Yeah.
teeth that are coming out from underneath. Is the same thing happening here, or is it the other way around here? I'm trying to read your shadow.
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't really entirely sure. Like that one that you're on there kind of looks like it's the top overlapping, but yeah, I was kind of just kind of playing with it. I wasn't really knowing exactly what I was kind of doing. So
I think this, I think fewer of these little jaggies here. I think that
yeah,
feels better because then my eye, it's like this reads as noise to me, right?
yeah,
It's not as clearly defined. If I go here, this is easily read, right? And it gives the eye an
yeah,
opportunity to navigate this area as to where this just feels like, random jaggedness. But let's go on to
yeah.
your next, where you've done variations.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to go down here. Let's open this up in a new tab. All right. There's a couple of these that I think stand out really well, and I know this was. I'm not sure which one you ran with, but I'm just going to. You have it here, so I'm going to talk about it. There's some good stuff in here.
Yeah.
I really like the back of the skull here. Something about that feels very prehistoric.
Yeah.
I'm just going to talk about what caught my eye and what I like. This I like sort of the simplicity of this as well. Coming over to this guy, which is this guy, right? This one in the upper right hand
Yeah.
corner is the same one up here. Um,
Yeah.
this is probably the most flamboyant out of all of your variations, and I like it. I think you ran with the right one. But I think you did have something going on here. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Here, if I go back, so I would keep these in mind as you're
Yeah.
sculpting.
I put the head bit on as a separate subtool just in case I did want to change it, so I can kind of play around with a few different of those bits.
Yeah, I would just duplicate it, or you can do it on a layer, whatever you know feel good about.
Yeah.
But I'd say maybe there's something here that you can incorporate in here. I think this is definitely your winner, right? But I think that there's something in these. I like the shape of this sort of the way the skull reads here, and I'm still getting the same thing here in this version of it. Right, because I'm assuming you went down the line when you were working on these. No?
Yeah.
Okay. But I'd say that there's something you could pull from these. Like I like this little element here.
Yeah.
You might want to try doing this guy, but maybe with like this throat and see how that works.
Yeah.
So,
I did consider that because the one that I've chosen, it looks like maybe if you put his head down, he might like cut his chin on that, or it might be a bit hard to make it move.
but I'm assuming. But what I like about this is that what's the shoot? I'm trying to remember the name of the bird that has the big red breast that it blows up when it's doing its little mating dance.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But this reminds me of that element, right? So I could see that inflating, or if you're thinking of, I don't know if you ever saw the old Ron Howard movie. It was it Ron Howard, Steven Spielberg, Willow? Did you ever see Willow?
I don't think I've seen.
Okay, the dragons in Willow have a similar element, and when they belch fire,
Oh.
these inflate like a billows,
Oh,
right? So I could see this acting like a billow.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's
cool.
the cool element. And honestly, there's something. I mean, it feels a little testicular, but I like
Yeah.
I like this element that's kind of the same thing from the cassowary, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool. I think that I'm just looking and talking, but this is definitely your strong one. But yeah, pull something from this and see what you come up with. Let's look at your color variations. I'm actually very timid when it comes to color. So when I usually stay away from vibrant and bright. So my eye is immediately drawn to these first two. Right? I'm like,
Yeah.
but that's my safe zone. If I'm thinking about it, I'm seeing some really beautiful stuff in these two. I'm thinking of
Yeah.
this very much reminds me of the Banshees and Avatar, which I could see
Oh yeah, yeah.
some beautiful stuff coming out of this. And this is just reminding me of a really beautiful tropical bird. I like that this is so busy, right? I think that you could get some
Yeah.
really.
That one's actually a more saturated. Oh, sorry.
It's a more saturated version.
That one's a more. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it. I like all these colors that you put in here because this looks to be fairly complex, right? If I'm reading this and I'm seeing a lot of transitions from blues to oranges, and it's gorgeous, and I'd say that out of all of these feel the best to me.
Yeah. Cool.
Let's see. Let's go around. Multiple eyes are cool. Yeah, I like your process in this. This was very nice to go through and do this.
Cool.
All right. So let's go up to your block out. Looks fantastic. It's great. I mean, I'm looking at the neck looks good. The head, where the head and the neck that connects, feels good. Um, I like what you've done here with the sort of the raised raptor toe.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm seeing in the wings is, oh, you know what? You've just hidden it. Never mind. I see it there.
Yeah, there's a few other ones where it's showing.
Okay. So you've hidden it there. Let's go down the arm. That looks good. I'd say your lats are a little subdued.
Yeah.
You know, for the size of his arms,
Yeah.
for the size of his arms, I would increase the volume in the lats.
Maybe like arch his back a bit more with that. Or...
Yeah, I'd probably pull that down. I mean, the same thing I was saying earlier. You know, get that arch down here, and then just bring out the volume here. Also, you want the you have the infraspinatus, the teres minor and teres major, or teres major and teres minor here. I would make sure that the lats are overlapping that, like clearly.
Okay. Just in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Trying to look at your various views. Pull up your other images.
It's kind of feeling to me maybe like a bit too like kind of chunky. Like I was the way I'd imagined it. Well, kind of I'd imagined it a bit more skinny, maybe even with a longer tail, but it kind of came out like this. But I don't know if it's the torso seems huge and maybe the head's a bit too big, but the kind of proportions seem off to me. It looks a bit like a cartoony kind of rooster or something.
Yeah, I'd say that probably the size of the rib cage is what's doing,
Yeah.
and then the thickness of the arms. Like if you wanted this to feel more slender, make the arms more sinewy.
Yeah.
You know, think of rather than this being like a human arm. It's just a series.
Yeah.
It's like your lower leg. You know, your lower leg and your forearm are really just feel like or when you look at the anatomy, it looks like just a mess of cables running from one joint down to the other,
Yeah.
right? And think about how you can construct the arm in that way, because really what this needs to be for for a flying creature, this needs to be a cable assembly, right? To pull pull on these joints. The strength really needs to come from the chest, right, and the back to provide that downward motion to provide thrust. So I'd say you could definitely take down volume here in the arms. Let's go back to another shot.
And where the serratus is connecting to the obliques there, I kind of thought looked cool at first, but I don't know if it's a bit much. Like,
Honestly, I like seeing something of this, and I'll start with something very well defined like this, and then I'll pick out lines, right? So I'll knock this back. I'll go in with the clay brush. I'll knock it back, and I'll go, okay, there's key lines there. You know, if I look at, I don't know, let's look at. Hopefully, I don't butcher his name. Serge Nubret, right? I always go back to bodybuilders to when I go, what should I do with the anatomy? Um,
Yeah.
so let's see if I could find a good shot here. We can see what's going on here. I usually leave one or two lines to indicate, because normally you don't see the serratus clearly well defined. Like there's a good example.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe that's all you want to show in the obliques and the serratus. I know you're like, well, you're pulling up a human comparing it to a lizard, but it's all the same to me. I mean, it's all just nature putting muscles together, and I think that it's totally fine to go and say, okay, well, I want to have his muscles feel like that. So
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, this well defined, it's a bit much. I'd say if you take down the rib cage and thin out the arms a bit, let's go back up here. So if you take down just the volume of the rib cage, and it looks like also let me look for a side view here. There we go. Okay, there we go. See how low this is hanging?
Yeah.
I'd probably bring that volume up. Bring his shoulders down a little bit. Put more of an arch in his back. The tail. What's going on with the tail?
I don't know. It's kind of more. I was originally thinking of it having as more of a dinosaur body and a long tail, but then I thought it wouldn't really be able to fly very well, so I kind of went more to kind of a bat, like something maybe like a bat with a smaller tail.
That's cool. I might, I would say take that further. Like I would say make it even more bat-like. Get that.
Okay. What, like smaller?
Well, get that sort of the thin skin that stretches between their tail and their back legs, right?
Yeah.
Like connect. I would say connect. Connect from here to here.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Would you suggest doing that with a plane or a separate subtool or something? Or?
I would do it with a plane. For sure. I mean, at least start with the plane. It'll be easier to maneuver that around. Or you could use, if you're familiar with Z-sphere retopology.
Not really, but
okay.
I'm sure I can find out.
Actually, here, I'll show you right now. Z-sphere retopology for pieces like that is really nice. So let me grab something. Do I have anything in my quick save worth bringing it up? I got that. I can't pull up that stuff, so let's see. Maybe I'll pull up one of these sketches to show you with. Actually, I'll pull up this guy. It's fine. All right. So let me turn off all the color here. All right, so to retopologize with a Z-sphere, you're going to go Subtool, Append Sphere. So you have your Z-sphere subtool. Let's scale that down. Oops. Scale that down so it's inside the body. Then go to Topology, Edit Topology, and let's bring the draw size down. Once you have that on, you can. Oh, I'm going to behave. Oh, we're going to not in draw mode. There we go. Make sure you're in draw mode. I'm going to click here. It's going to drop a point. I'm going to click here, click here. That's going to drop. I'm just going to be dropping a series of points. I'm going to come over here, drop a point there, there, and then I'll connect it here. Right. So after that, I want to connect these interior pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how this is highlighted red. That means it's the active point which I'll draw off of. If I click there, it'll deactivate it. I hover over, I can see where the next point is. So I'm going to click there and make that active, and then connect it here. Let's deactivate that. Now let's go to the next one. I'll go to this one and connect it there. Let's deactivate that one. Click here and here. And the reason why I'm recommending this feature is because it's really good for bridging gaps, right? So I'll deactivate that, and I want to add the vertices down the line through here. If I want to delete it, obviously I'll be in draw mode, hold down Alt, that'll delete a vert. And then when I'm ready actually for this to become mesh, I would hit the A key for adaptive skin. Go to adaptive skin. Usually don't like pre-subdividing. And then I'd say make adaptive skin, and I'll get an additional tool that I can append in.
Okay.
Right. So this might be easy for you to get a plane out just using this feature. I find it. I mean, I was going to show this for bat wings anyways. So here's a little.
Yeah.
A little. Here's Christmas a little early for you. A little preview. So there you go. And it looks like it's, I'm looking at the thickness of your arms. It's not so much your biceps as your triceps are fairly large.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the whole upper arm I find a bit confusing how they all kind of connect. So I was kind of probably went a bit too much into trying to experiment with it.
As far as the front of the arm or the back of the arm? Like what's the whole thing? That's sort of confusing.
I guess the whole thing. I mean, I do have an understanding of which muscles are which and where they go, but it's just when you actually try and make it, how they all kind of wrap together, it just doesn't really turn out right. I think I just need to practice arms more, probably.
Okay. All right. Let's move on from these guys. Let's see. Did you have another one up there? I thought I saw another one.
There's one that has the full wings out. Yeah, there's one more I think that you haven't clicked on yet, maybe. There. Oh,
This one right here?
One point. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's something I'm really not liking about the. Like maybe if the wings, like certain, maybe the forearm or the lower arm is too long, or just the kind of overall proportions of the wing is seeming weird for me.
Well, it feels very like Pterodactyl Man from the front here in this silhouette, right?
Yeah.
And I think my eyes keep on going to the same thing: the thickness of the arm overall.
Yep.
How low hanging the rib cage is. It's fairly low hanging. I think bringing that up is going to help.
Yeah.
Something in the legs, and I think it's. And I hate saying that because I like what you have in the legs. I'm looking from the back here. And this is beautiful. This is really nice. But I think maybe bringing the knees in a bit so they're not outward facing.
Yeah.
I think because I think what you're looking at is trimming the silhouette, right?
Yeah. Do you think perhaps the hips might be too wide?
Yeah. I don't think that. I look at the back and they're actually fairly narrow, right?
Oh yeah.
They're pretty narrow. But if I look at the front, they look wide because of the fact that they're angled outward, and this is poor for rigging too. Like you wouldn't want these angled outward like that. So I would just bring those so they're facing front and center, right? Just bring them into the front.
Should that be straightened out a bit more because it's kind of bent? Not as bent as the drawings, but the neck.
Well,
still kind of an S shape.
Eventually, you're going to have to straighten them out, right? If you wanted to rig this, you would have to straighten them out. You couldn't have them bent. But I'm saying even for a neutral position, I bring this in, and I'd say that like I'm just trying to envision it with this pushed up.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to find that this makes a world of difference. Just playing with the rib cage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say this is a minor thing. Like pull those legs in so that the knees are facing straight forward. The feet.
And so, I mean the neck where it connects to the head. Should that be more straight?
Well, when it comes to rigging it, you want to try and smooth
Yeah,
it out. You want everything as straight as possible, and you want everything in sort of a neutral state. So you get a when you rig it, you'll get a fuller range of motion that looks, like if it's bent like this and you rig this like that,
yeah,
it bringing that neck down, like if he was to, I don't know, clean his toes with his teeth, like I think that, and I'm just saying that, not that he's going to do that, but that extreme of emotion would stretch out really poor on the back here, right? This area would be
yeah.
really, really stretched out. So if you can get that,
So would you recommend I do that now, like immediately, to start straighten it out early?
no, we'll do it on Wednesday. For right now, I just
Okay.
want you guys getting a feel for it and a feel for your characters, and it's fine keeping them posed. I mean, we're not going to take it to the last 10% this week. We're not taking it, or I'm sorry, we're not taking
Yeah.
it on Wednesday at least to the last 10%. Friday we'll be taking it to the fuller polish, and and then we'll be going into Maya. So I'd say right now it's fine. I'd say maybe come Wednesday evening when you start working on this, you want to start straightening it out.
Okay. Cool. And I was thinking if it was going to be a saddle for someone to ride it, I was thinking maybe I could go behind the head between the shoulder blades and the neck. Do you think that would be good?
A saddle, certainly. I think that could be.
Yeah, if someone was going to ride this.
Yeah. Have you ever? I'm trying to think. Was it Dragon Riders of Pern that had them riding along the neck? But yeah, I think that would be a good placement. And honestly, yeah, I mean, no, you still want the head kind of straightened out, but yeah, that would be a good placement for a saddle for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you think I should sorry for so many
No,
questions,
no, no.
the head should be smaller? Because I think maybe because the head is big, maybe it's making it look like a smaller animal, but maybe it would look better with a smaller neck and head. Or
It's funny how these rules. Are you able to? I heard your audio cutting out, and I want to make sure it's not something on my side. Can you still hear me? Okay.
yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. All right. I'd say it's funny how this stuff sort of plays out, because if there was no saddle and if there was no rider, um, I
Yeah,
would say yes, probably reduce the size of the head. But the fact that there will be a saddle on there and there will be a rider, that'll provide visual scale reference, right? So if it always has a saddle on it and it's strapped on top, I think that that's going to tell you the
yeah,
size of this creature, right? I mean, if I'm looking at the area right now and you're telling me you're going to put a saddle on there, I could see this thing being anywhere from
yeah.
18 to 30 feet tall. I'm not sure. Like, I guess maybe like I'm not sure what that would be in meters, but yeah, somewhere it'd be like at least you know twice as tall as an elephant. You know, um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I'd say that's good placement for it,
cool.
and we'll look at straightening out things for rigging on Wednesday.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's see.
With the hornbill thing on his head, I wasn't sure if maybe having it like two of them, so it's kind of like a Dilophosaurus, or if just keeping it at one. I guess I'll experiment.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff. I mean, I would just play with it and see what feels good to you. You know, um, trying to have a last look at what you have here. Yeah, even before taking down the volume, like as far as the overall volume, I would.
Yeah.
Oh, there's actually. I'm sorry. I can see it in this view really, really well as far as where you need to bring this down. Right, it's this huge. You dropped in the rudder, right?
Okay.
That's the rudder. I would take down your rudder. I didn't realize you had it until
Okay.
I saw this shot. Yeah,
Yeah.
take down your rudder. I think that's going to help you out a lot. So Marcos, you're doing great. I like where you're going with it. It's gonna turn out cool. Simon, I love your piece. I think it's really strong. I think there's a lot that I see in here that's going to be really crazy interesting as you move forward. I think this has a lot of potential to be phenomenal. I think the issues that you're hitting are that it's a fairly complex little beastie. I mean, you in your sketches, it's complex. So I'd say you're trying for something that is challenging, and this creature is going to make you work for it. So you should I would say, feel energized about what you have so far, because I think you're on a good path to success for this creature. It's going to be exciting to see this moving forward in the next couple of weeks. Christian. Cool stuff, man. Just take my notes and do what you can with it. Elongate that body. Figure out where those feathers are going to hit. I wouldn't run them down the side of the legs there. And I guess one thing I didn't really chat a lot about with your design in particular, but I'm going to say something about it now. As far as the wings go, I would try and figure that out a bit better and figure out how those are going to work, because I'm not necessarily seeing it this way. They feel backwards to me. Right? So try flipping those around, maybe even adding another joint here if that's what you're after. But I still feel like this would be too long. So yeah, I would look at these wings and figure it out. I understand why you did that, looking at it from the side view. You want that shape. But I think that it's just not going to make sense. All right, so Justin, good stuff. I'd say that stay away from that. I'm just going to repeat: stay away from that fine detail. Try knocking this off because it doesn't feel like it's working together with everything else. And even try working on this without the horns. Just focus on your shapes, your silhouette, and your features. Ash, good start, needs some tuning. Everything I said: the wings, play at the nose, play at the ears, play at the length of the legs, reduce the width of those wings. But great start. So I guess I'll leave it to you guys. If you guys have any questions, you want to see how I do the wings? Okay, Marcos. Of course, Simon. Yeah, Christian, I just read your comment. Christian said, yeah, just like the graceful curve in this one. Yeah, the curve is cool, and it's one of those things that's like form over function, right? I think you're choosing form over function. I think that if you're thinking about something that mechanically, I mean, if you could make that mechanically work, try dropping some, just play around with your anatomy, and look at the physiology and see if it's something that you can pull together with that shape. Maybe I'm wrong. Absolutely. I mean, I would love to see that work. It's very difficult for me to see it, but give it a shot. So I guess let's see, we're running a little early, so we have a bit of time. Oh, I don't know if you guys heard the sirens. There's no emergency nearby. But I'd say, do you guys have any questions for me or anything you want me to show you moving forward before we sort of wrap this up? Just wondering. The Simon, just wondering if I still hadn't completely made my mind up whether to go for the batwing approach or more bird wings. Seem to be going for bird or more pterosaur wings, but do you have any opinion? Oh, let me pull your guy up. Do I have an opinion? Yeah, I'd say that. Bat wings or feathered wings? He has this. There's a turkey vulture-like character, or like there's a characteristic to your creature, and I think I would like to see feathers on the wings, especially if I think about the neck area. Like I could see definitely not to feed to feed you too much on your design. I want this to very much be your own, but I could see like around the neck area, this having a lot of those vulture-like plumes. Let's see. Am I thinking of a turkey vulture? No, I'm not. It's not a turkey vulture. Thinking of like maybe like the Himalayan vulture. No. Well, anyway, something like this, right? I could definitely see this happening in the chest. And I think if you went with feathered wings, it would lead you to something really cool. I think it's something that you and actually I just remembered what your guy is reminding me of. And it is a vulture. Let's see. Vulture. Clash of the Titans. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I think this is what I was thinking of the entire time when I was looking at it, because there's just a few shots of this in the original Clash of the Titans that totally reminded me of your dude. Anyways, feathered wings is what I'd recommend if you're asking me. Although you're going to be facing quite the challenge doing feathered wings. Feathered wings are absolutely much more difficult to do than say like bat wings. No problem. All right, anybody else? If there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up a little early. Justin, is it bad if I start over? I'm not feeling as strong with my concept. I wouldn't abandon your baby, man. I would continue on. I would just, I wouldn't start over. I wouldn't do that at all. I would take what you have and work it into what you want. I mean, and honestly, like this is not a bad start. I think you have a very good start, and I would not abandon it. Oh, I'm sorry, Justin. I got you and Ash confused. Should you start over? No, I would go back to an earlier state. Sorry, Justin. Justin's like, wait a minute, that's not my project. All right. Yeah, I would go back to just an earlier state on this project. I think you tried to take it too far too fast. Right. I'd say you just need to slow down. Go back to where you were starting to first establish your major shapes after you did your silhouette work. And just and really sort through it. But I think the fact that you're sick probably didn't help things. I know that like when I'm sick, I don't want to sculpt. I don't want to do anything. I want to sit and veg and watch Battlestar Galactica reruns. Freaking. I want to watch my Doctor Who. I want to zone out on something like that. So um, I'd say just I know that you want to keep pace with everything that's going on now, but I'd say getting rest is going to help you with this creature more than any work you're going to do on it right now. I'd say make sure that you get your rest, um, and then look at it with fresh eyes when you're feeling better. You'll make a lot better decisions, when you're going through it. Alrighty. So, anything else, folks? Yeah, no problem, Justin. All right. Well, if that is it, and nobody else has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys for coming in today for a crit. I'm excited to see the work. I mean, the work is looking cool. I mean, I gotta tell you, like this, doing this workshop for you guys is a fantastic experience, and I couldn't ask for better people in here because you guys are doing some phenomenal stuff, and it's shining. And I can't wait to see what we hit in the last boss battle. Getting our big guys out. So there's your notes. Have a beautiful Monday and Tuesday, and I'll see you on Wednesday. You're welcome, Christian. You too, Simon. You guys all have a great day. Cheers.